At the time of filming this video, I am 27 years old. I was one of the youngest people ever to pass the New York bar, came top of my year at Cambridge, and the company I founded has created startups worth over $2.5 billion. And if I were to go back in time and give my 20-year-old self some advice, here's what I would say. Number one, things take a lot longer than expected. When you look on YouTube, you're going to see all of those kids who are making $10,000 a month. That is more often than not just lies. Every overnight success actually takes about 10 years to happen. Lesson number two is don't just blindly follow advice. I made this mistake a ton in my early 20s. When I was first starting EasyA, I reached out to people for advice, and I reached out to everyone. People who went to my alma mater, Cambridge University, people who were at my school, and of course they came from loads of different walks of life, and inevitably their advice ended up being super conflicting, and that's because I treated all of their advice way more like those were lessons. The way that I should have approached those was actually by viewing them as viewpoints. Lesson number three, don't overthink it. Don't get analysis paralysis. So many people in the early 20s are like, I need this 5-10 year roadmap, and there's so much advice saying that you have to do that. In my opinion, you don't need to. Who knows where you're gonna be in 10 years? Like, you're literally gonna be 30 years old. Imagine if you knew where you were gonna be at 20 when you were 10 years old. How crazy would that be? You just need to start doing stuff. Next lesson, move fast. Life will slip you by, and before you know it, your 20s will be over. You've just got to move incredibly fast, ship things, don't be embarrassed, and make sure that you just move as fast as possible. Next lesson, surround yourself with great people. They say that you're the average of the 3 people you spend the most time with. That doesn't mean to ditch your friends, it just means surround yourself with great people. So whatever it is that you really want to focus on, make sure that you spend it with people who are great at that. Lesson number 6 is say no. In your 20s, you're gonna have the most opportunities that you'll ever have in your entire life. This is the time when everything is gonna be thrown at you. And your job is to make sure that you choose the opportunities that are gonna benefit you long term. If you try to do too much, that is gonna mean that you aren't able to focus on what is really gonna get you towards that end goal, where you wanna be in your 30s and 40s. Next lesson, don't be embarrassed. I'm here, there are hundreds of people passing me by, and I'm just talking to myself like a crazy person. I don't care, I'm not embarrassed. If you're embarrassed, that's actually a good thing. It means that you're pushing yourself, you're going out of your comfort zone, and you're doing the things that you should really be doing. Lesson number 8, you do not need to be passionate about every single thing that you do. That is one of the biggest myths that's out there. And I think it's one of the biggest reasons that people also give up in their 20s on their dream. They think, oh, when I first started out, I thought that this would be amazing. And then I realized that I wasn't really passionate about it. I lost my passion. And I think that more often than not, it's because people confuse passion and what they enjoy doing with the stuff that is required to enable you to pursue that passion. Our next lesson is to plan. Make sure that you do plan. I talked about not having necessarily a 10-year or a 20-year or a 5-year plan, but make sure that you do know what you're doing. Every single day of my life, from about my early teenage years, I knew exactly what I was going to do the next day, and I pretty much knew what I was going to do that whole week as well. So that every time when I woke up and got out of bed in the morning, I had a set of tasks that I had to do, and by the end of the day, I did them. And that compounds massively over time. Lesson number 10, exercise. This is one of those things that's super easy to neglect in life, but you've got to do it. It's what's going to get you through the tough times because it helps you deal with stress, it helps you sleep better at night. It's honestly the best wonder drug that's out there. Lesson number 11, be wary of chasing prestige. Coming from a guy who came top at Cambridge and then went to work at one of the highest paying law firms might sound like I'm being a bit of a hypocrite, but honestly, it's one of the best things that I've learned along the way. So many people get swept up into the corporate world, into law firms, consultancy, banking, when it's not something that they're really passionate about. From the outside, everybody wants to get in. And from the inside, everybody's looking out and they wonder, how can I actually get out? And that's the difficulty with prestige. The next lesson is related to that, and it's take risks. In your 20s, you don't have a family yet, you don't have a mortgage, you hopefully don't have a ton to worry about. And that is precisely what makes you rich. You might be financially poor, you might feel poor as well, you might not be able to buy the things you want to buy, but you know what you have more of than somebody in their 50s or 40s who already has a family and a mortgage? You can take risk. Next lesson, and this is gonna sound really weird, but don't save money. I even feel weird saying this because until recently, I saved every single penny that I earned. I am a massive saver. So why did I change my mind? Well, what I realized is that you will never be poorer than you are in your early 20s. If you save up $1,000 or $2,000 now, in the grand scheme of things, that isn't actually a huge ton of money. When you're in your 60s or 70s, hopefully you're going to have thousands and thousands of dollars. And think about what you could have done with that money if you'd actually just spent it in your 20s. Last lesson, and pretty much to summarize it all, is that life gets better and better. I'm 27 now, and I can honestly say that this has been the best year of my entire life so far. I've done so much, I've visited so many countries, I've grown our company so much, and that's because of all those things that I just talked about. All those lessons, all that compounding, all those things just day in, day out, executed every single day, added up. So for people who say that your university years are the best years of your life, don't believe them. Life will honestly just get better and better.